Welcome to the lecture Aristotle and Plato. How do they differ in their thought? Aristotle and Plato, two of the most influential philosophers in Western thought, had many differences in their philosophical approaches and theories. Here are some points of difference between them. To say the first point, the theory of form for which Plato is known for. Plato believed in the theory of form, which means he thought that non-physical perfect ideas are the most real and important things. Aristotle rejected Plato's theory of forms. He believed that forms are a part that is intrinsic and cannot exist without them. For example, the form of a tree is what makes it a tree, including its structure, function and properties. This form is not separated from the tree, but it is a fundamental part of the tree's existence. Similarly, the same thing works with the form of a chair, includes its shape, structure and purpose. It cannot be separated from the physical chair itself. The next point that he differs is in the epistemology. Plato says he emphasizes a priori knowledge, that is, which is knowledge that comes from reasoning and thinking. Whereas Aristotle focused on empirical knowledge, which is knowledge gained from experience and observation. Plato says knowing that all triangles have three sides without needing to see a physical triangle is enough. But Aristotle says learning that fire is hot by touching it or observing its effect. So he stresses on the experiential part of learning. And when it comes to ethics, here he stresses on ethical reality. And based on perfect idea, he says especially the form of the good. Knowing what is morally right is like knowing these purposes. So for example, he says if you understand what courage is, then a soldier can align himself, his action with the ideal form of courage. But Aristotle has an opposite idea. He says that he introduced virtue ethics, where he says that a person becomes brave by habitually facing the virtues, for example fear, and challenges in a balanced way. Over time this practice develops the virtue of courage. The same thing works with a firefighter who has to fight fire, saving life several times to become an expert. And the fourth thing where they differ is the nature of reality, which is the most prominent aspect of Plato. Where Plato viewed that physical world as a shadow of the true reality. He says a beautiful painting is just an imperfect copy of the perfect beauty that exists in the world of forms. The beauty we see in the painting is only a reflection of the true ideal beauty. Whereas Aristotle says that, he says physical world as real and believe that studying it through observation and analysis is crucial for understanding reality. As he stated earlier that it is intrinsic. To understand, for example, what a tree is, Aristotle would study actual tree by observing the characteristic growth patterns and environment. Finally, they differ in art and aesthetics. So here, Plato criticizes art as an imitation of an imitation because it copies the physical idea, which itself is a mere reflection of the world of forms. And as an example, painting is twice removed from reality and doesn't convey the true essence of beauty. But what Aristotle says is, he valued art for its ability to represent reality because it evokes emotion and it also provides catharsis and deeper understanding through imitation. For example, Oedipus, where he says that he speaks the importance of imitation, like human action and emotion. This allows to experience pity, fear, that leads to emotional release, and finally the catharsis. And so therefore, you can what Aristotle said is you cannot neglect this aesthetic beauty, the emotion, imitation from an art, since they are intrinsic. So as a conclusion, when comes to, I would like to conclude with Aristotle's view. He says that he contrasts sharply with Plato by asserting that forms are not separate, ideal entities, but are inherent in the objects themselves. This makes him more practical than his master Plato. So thank you for this beautiful time. We will meet you with another literary critic. Thank you.